the transformation, the transforming, trans across form, to change from one form to another form. All change comes from the center. As we have discussed a few lectures ago, we talked about at the center is God in everything. If you look at a cell, in the middle of the cell there's the energy burst. The energy burst is God. As you move further and further from the center, it becomes harder and harder. You look at the earth, at its center it is molten, then gaseous, then liquid, then the crust. The crust is matter, is the force of matter that resists going back to godliness. So that circle and its center represent all that is within this universe, and at its center God, and God pulling everything back toward itself. The balance is the law of matter. Therefore all transformations come from the center. The representation of this law in word is Om. Represents this whole process. The repetition of the word or the sound Om causes everything within you to vibrate, or the many forms of Om, the humming, the sounds, the sustaining of sound. These things will help in your transformation, but above all, what has happened in man is the crystallization of flesh. A child's centers are open. It is liquid. It is soft. It is pliable. What happens as this child grows older? What happens is the crust that you call flesh becomes harder and harder. And it becomes harder because we shut off the flow of God, or all that is, or whatever term or word you wish to use, or if you're smart enough you don't use any word at all. How does this happen? You must remember that the center of your being, just as the center of the earth, the molten core, is your nervous system. That is the center of the energy. You call its effects emotions. And what we have learned to do is not deal with our emotions, but to shut them off. And when you shut them off from that which is life, the vibration becomes more and more still, and the crust solidifies. As the crust solidifies, the further you come away from God, the more resistant it is to the force of God, or to the primal force, or to the force which sustains us. We become more in tune with Satan. You must remember that without man, and this is a significant clue in your scientific research, without man, Satan is just a law of nature. It is the force that sustains form. When you become overly caught up in form, then you become satanic, as we all have done at some point in time. Now, again, you have to watch your own reactions to these things. To become satanic doesn't mean you become, I don't know, whatever, all those impressions that we have of Satan. It simply means that we are trapped within certain boundaries. We are trapped within the crust that we have set up. We have caused everything, our centers, our receiving centers, to become so hard and crusted that the finer vibrations, that is, what is, can't penetrate. I don't know about you, but my grandmother used to say, "You're so hard-headed." Well, it is true, or it was true. The penalty, yes, there's a penalty for that. And it is directly related to the fable of hell. Your consciousness becomes so trapped by its focus, into form, that at the moment of death you blink out like a light, because you are focused in form and are entrapped in form. You become perhaps good fertilizer because you have consciousness. Good bomb, yeah. All that takes is the, oh, and look another way and things change. You must remember that all things are because of you. Okay. Those who awaken, remain conscious, and come to rest again within the whole. Come to rest again within the non-form as themselves. We go back to grace. Those who are aware of spirit. Let us go back to spirit, back to fire. Spirit, energy, fire. You shut off the fire by how you respond to emotions or to feelings. Now, I don't want you to think that all this dumb stuff that you learned is unusable. It is perfectly usable. We'll get to that in a minute. It is perfectly usable. Right, you heard me say years and years ago, if life hands you lemons, make lemonade. So everything is usable. Everything in its time. But the first thing we must do, in the words, I believe it is, of Jesus, who said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all things shall be added unto you." That is, seek knowledge and understanding first, and you will understand how to use the fertilizer, to make things that you want grow. We want to rid ourselves of the behavior of cutting off life's flow. That's what we wish to do. Now, all the other stuff that's on the fringes, the emotions, have direct relationship to Satan or the natural law of form, of creation. They do, they do, they do. So, the key element here, you have transformed from the natural being into the unnatural being by shutting off the energy flow from your center that radiates to the rest of your being. So you brought that in very close. Tension does this. The more solid the thing, the less energy escapes. The more dense the matter, the smaller the amount of energy that escapes. When you become tense, you are holding matter so that it does not vibrate at its natural frequency. You're bringing it in. Oh, and it's just, tension causes such pain because what you're doing with your will, you are keeping matter from vibrating at its natural frequency. Think of the power in that. Think of the power that keeps the atoms and molecules from vibrating in a way that is healthy. All right? So now we must transform again back to that which was natural. And you do that, find yourself reacting. What do? We use the stop technique. And we relax. And we let the energy flow. Why? To bring God back to Satan. The energy, God, all that is, whatever, back into form. And thereby elevating the form. Piece of cake. Now, back to the investigation of thought. Because in the investigation of thought, you will hit upon something that is very, very, very important. Will. Will is absolutely important. Absolutely important. Because it is through will that you do everything. If you consider what you think to be good, then you will not investigate it and will lose will. Well, not lose it, but misuse will. I ran into Amita the other day, and she used an analogy that I loved. She said, the word honey is not sweet. Only honey is sweet. Yes. So, even when you think you are correct, it's not sweet. The most wonderful law of nature at the wrong moment is satanic. Now, isn't that a trip? Doesn't that speak to relativity? We know that water puts out fire, but if you're trying to cook with the fire and you keep putting water on it, it's not a good time. It is satanic because it is in opposition to that which you wish to achieve. So, we come back to the simplicity of a statement. Stay out of your head. The simplicity of another statement. Doesn't matter what you think, or what I think, or what anyone thinks. It simply doesn't matter. Because it is not thinking that is the thing. It is the doing. It is the doing. Therefore, to observe, we think that so many things are important. You know, when we have these, some of us, we have this thing about always trying to hold on to someone for whatever reason. See, if we had investigated that, what we would find is that it is the expression of the law of God, which always tries to pull things to the center. But because we are in our minds, we misinterpret. And when we misinterpret, we cannot use that law in extending our will to make other things happen. So it is all a matter of how you look at it. You have to change the way you look at that which is true. But when you are in insecurities and doubts and fears, we grab at the other. Well, it is a representation of the natural law, but viewed through illness or dis-ease. Important things right in here, because we've just talked about the dis-ease, and we've just talked about how you can use that dis-ease once you get past the dis-ease down to the law, how you can utilize that for your own betterment. I've said, in the simplicity of it, drop the mind. Doesn't mean anything. Only the thing. Only honey is sweet. The word is not. So drop all the impressions. All the impressions of what I see myself to be. And find out that what you are. Relax. Let the energy flow. Learn. Relearn. Become. Here's that word. Those words. Born again. Not that guy. Truly reborn by allowing the energy to radiate to every part of your being and transform you again. Every cell has a center. Every single one. From that center, God radiates. Remember, now we talked about the releasing of energy. I don't know, in one of these lectures we did sometime in the last 3 to 4 or 5 weeks, I lose count. I'm not real good at that kind of counting. 1, 2, 3. That's real complicated for me. We've talked about the transition point between Satan and God is the point of the breakdown breakdown of matter. Whether that is the breakdown of a complex carbohydrate in the mitochondria of a cell, that point makes the rip in time and space. The rip in time and space. The transition point, that between God and Satan. Okay? The atomic explosion is just a big rip in time and space. A moment of embarkation or debarkation, depending on which side you are standing. If it's you that's going, it's debarking. That energy is the direct energy of God. If you will go back to, I guess, your Bible, and check about the Ark of the Covenant, as well as healing for the ordinary person to touch it, poof. The power of God. No, the power of being God. You must always remember, God is anti-matter, anti-Satan, anti-matter. That's Uncle Matter's wife. Anti-matter. Okay? Every vibrational frequency in this universe has its representation in form. How do you want to use it? You've heard me say, vegetarian, non-vegetarian, it doesn't matter. Something else matters about it. Vegetarian, non-vegetarian. What am I saying? I'm saying that every vibrational frequency is represented in some form. That is why your body needs minerals, the hardest vibrational frequency, one of them. You need metals in your body, a hard vibrational frequency, a heavy vibrational frequency. Each one of those frequencies must be recognized or recognized, brought to the surface, so that you balance it so that it vibrates correctly. You need, remember we did this, the plant level, the octaves in the plant. There's several reasons for this now. You need the animal, material, and you, regardless of what they say, you need sunlight. You need to be in the sun. Now, all of these things need to be taken in to your being in the proper prescription. Okay? One of the problems with our taking in the finer vibrational frequencies is that we've destroyed the ozone layer, so they aren't softened. Okay, so now when they hit you, you're receiving a more direct dose of God. And it burns you real bad. Remember now, the sun is a place of transition where matter is both broken down and built up. It is a self-perpetuating point of transition. A self-perpetuating point of transition between man and God, or between form and God, or Satan and God, if you want to use those terms, or form and non-form, or movement and stability. However you want to use them. See, we're back to the old yin and yang theory, aren't we? Sometimes this, sometimes that. It's all relative. These are things you must understand by your observation, and things that you use to transform your being. Man is at the top of the chain and is able to manifest everything below. And from the point of the lowest man, or the average man, up. How do we do this? By incorporating all these things within me, by eating food in the right proportions, you begin to have control. Or what's that word in the Bible? Dominion. Because it is there in its proper balance, in its proper vibration. You are it and it is you, body-wise or Satan-wise. When it is vibrating freely, as it should, it returns the flexibility to the matter. It takes away the excessive crystalline nature, the plant. Yes, that's right. Absolutely. Now, it's going to be up to you to do the work to recognize these things, because with the work comes wisdom, and that's the thing that no one can give. It is the thing that you earn by your own exploration. By your own exploration. There's, in certain communities, there's a thing where people will say, give me some of the wisdom. I wish I could. You know what I'm talking about. Okay. Sorry. I can't do it, man. You gain the wisdom. I'll give you some information that you can use whereby you will gain the wisdom. It's as simple as that. It is the reality of things. You'll notice that people talk and use words, but then when you want to get right down to the reality of those words, they don't want to hear it. It's very interesting. That's because they don't understand, and they are not actually talking to communicate. They're just making noise and being social animals. They are being social. Well, blah, 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 blah. He doesn't even know what they just said. Which, well, see, I suppose in a way in a kind of way, I'm a bigot. I like my own kind. Somebody who says something has something to say, I guess I'm a bigot too. All God's children bigots. I kind of like being around people who say the grass is green, and you look at the grass is really green. They meant what they said. Now, the more you reach your truer frequency, or frequencies, the more you will mean what you say. Even when you joke, doesn't mean that. For something to be funny, it doesn't necessarily mean it's untrue. These are things that we have to be very, very careful of. Matter of fact, the truer it is, the funnier it is. And also on the other side, the sadder it is. Because they come together. They come together. Sadness and funny are two sides of the same coin. You learn that when you're looking at your vibration. It's the same thing that goes here. Isn't that the same thing that comes back here? That's the way it is. So, when we eat, pay attention to what you eat. Okay? Just pay attention to it. I'm not saying be this or that or the other. I'm just saying pay attention. Pay attention to your body. Pay attention to the proportions in which you eat what you eat. There are all kinds of ranges in which we can do things. The problem comes when you exceed the range. The range for what it is you have to do. If you're a person who doesn't have to do any physical labor, the more solid foods you can stay away from, the more dense foods. But if you have physical labor to do, you need denser foods. It is a law of nature, and this is form, guys. Form to form. Range, in a range. You understand what I'm saying to you? Now, here's the point of all of this. We have to stop. I don't want to mislead you here. We have to stop doing so much thinking about, doing some focus, and some experiencing or experiencing. Not experiencing. But not to explode, but to implode, to come in on oneself and listen. Feel. Knowledge. Knowledge. To know. Okay, to know. You have willed yourself to literally be in control of something that was never meant to be controlled. But that lets you know the power of will. It can control that which was never meant to be controlled. Let us move back. Everything is the same thing. You look at a nerve cell, it transmits electromagnetic energy. The nerve cell stands as an individual cell in a sea of other individual cells. It affects the other atoms and electrons, atoms and molecules. It affects the molecules because it affects the atoms. To send a message between two nerve cells. That is how the message gets from one to the other, to the other, to the other. I stub my toe. Immediately, it hurts. Toe says, we're hurt. Brain says, hurt. Toe. Ah! Immediately. Message got from there to there and back. Just like that. At the speed of light. Light is everywhere at the same time. Now, look at this body. It is everything the same thing. A big nerve cell in a sea of other nerve cells. Doesn't it make you say, The trick is to allow the space to be manipulated. Just like the cell does in the body. Are you not the body of mankind? Are you not the nerve center of the physical universe? When's the last time you seen a plant make a car? They don't do it real well, you know. You are the higher nerve center. I've spoken to you before about the collective consciousness. You got to think about this stuff. You got to really think about this stuff, see? So, there's that little thing that comes off of that cell. There's some more of them there. Will. I'll get to your questions at the end. I'm on a roll. Will. Okay. But because I have Will is running around in here saying, help me, I want to get out. Okay. There's no such thing as that stuff. You're a dead cell in the nerve center of the universe. How does it, what does that make you feel like? Yeah, I'm a dead cell in the in the nerve center of the universe. Makes me real unique. Unique. That too. I am supposed to participate. That's what I'm supposed to do in the universe. I can't if I've got will locked up in here. So I must begin to allow the energy to move. Allow that energy from the center to make it soft and pliable again. And then extend will. Oh. Oh. Hmm. Needs to not be so exploded. I didn't say not. It shouldn't be sometime. I didn't say that. That's not what I said. Now don't go around telling people Anand said I should be celibate. Well, I didn't say that. You should be smart. That's what I'm saying. One of the reasons for the huge amount of sexually transmitted diseases is to drive man back toward his center. We've gotten too far away. We're saying, well, there's nothing wrong with having sex with anybody I choose to. Anybody, wherever. Oh, here, you, him, her, any. Dogs, cats, chickens, pigs, plastic. Okay. Yeah, you're right. There's nothing wrong. There's something incorrect. Incorrect. That leads to Satan. An obsession with form. That's the problem. It's not the thing itself. It's not sex will take you to hell. It's the idea of obsession with any form that puts you in hell. With any form in any manner. So it is the focus. It's the focus, the thing itself. So, well, I did it and I didn't go to hell. Well, that's true. The focus on it in opposition to the focus on the other. So, we have to let this build. Begin to relax. Stop being so obsessive. Then everything starts to pick up and glow. Get this little glow. Glowing like Gabriel. Just glow, just burn. You start getting hot. Sometimes you say, damn, did somebody turn off the heat in here? Well, yes, but no. The heat was turned up, turned up, turned up in here. Not turned out, turned up. Allowed to flow up. Now Satan becomes imbued with God. Piece of cake. Piece of cake. We think about it. You ever read Drabble? in the comic strip. The kid is a real loser, and he always does this. You know, he's thinking, and he's always wrong, always. Okay, that's what we do. No. Stop thinking about it. That creates the stresses. You know, the energy coming up into your head. You know how it gives you a headache. That's because you have all this tension in your head from all these thoughts. It's crowded, folks. It's full. You got to open that thing up so that stuff comes out of there. It's like a pimple. Oh, hurts like hell when you're doing it, but once it's oh man, you have to learn to relax your head. Physically relax your head. Say, but it's only bone and there's not a whole lot of muscle. There's enough. There's enough muscle to make tension to hold those bones so solid. A secret. The pyramids were built to house tools that manifested directly the power of God. That's why the stones were so thick. That's why the stones were so thick. We're housing the energies up there. We need to soften them up some. You know, we got to relax those muscles. You ever notice sometimes when you're meditating and you get through, your head feels so nice? You ever notice that? You physically, the head feels, oh man, so that's really cool. That's because the muscles are relaxing and letting the walls of the pyramid allow some of that energy to move. Okay. So, relaxing it, not thinking so much. Being involved, extending will, learning, growing, extending, growing, touching. You know, you think you're here and it's there. Well, I don't know. You're very sure of that. I'm not real sure about that. I kind of don't know where it is, but there's it's wherever it is. But I know that we touch each other. Again, when you're trying an exercise, generally what you'll do is put your attention in your fingers. No. All you can feel is your fingers. Hint, hint, hint. What is it you want to touch? Will you put your will in your fingers, you feel your fingers. If you say to your fingers, move, they move. You say, well, that happens because the message from the brain and the muscles contract. Yeah, but what makes that happen? Will. To extend the will. I was in high school. I had a track coach, and he taught us all the proper techniques. We were country kids. We thought you just run. Okay. Well, we exhibited a lot of potential, but there are ways to run, and there are ways to run or jump. Being a real country kid, I had never seen a football. I had never seen a baseball. Track, what's a track? I thought a track was something a little animal made in the dirt. Okay, what is this? And they said jump. Okay, I jumped. But he began to teach technique. And in technique, I could jump further. But like for 2 years, I hit a peak, and that was that. 1 year, we forgot about the state track meet. Just forgot it. We're country guys. We were busy doing other things, like watching the grass grow and stuff. Suddenly, the coach, oh my God, we got to go to the track meet at Jackson State. Okay, so we go over. My first jump, I jumped within 1 foot of jumping out of the pit. That's what I said. Wow. Here's the point. Before, I was in my body focusing on the mechanics of my body. This time, because I had not had the opportunity to get in that mindset, I was looking at the coach standing at the other end of the pit. You understand? Will was focused in my body doing technique. See, my arms have got to be like this, knees have got to be up, hit the board, plant, bam, explode, kick, head up, boom. Focus not in extending, but in where the body was. Okay. Without having practiced, oh my God, run, jump. My mind is no longer here, but watching him, seeing where he was. Body automatically did what it had been trained to do, which was proper technique, and will carried it. Now, hatred and labor. I'm talking about mental attitudes, not about doing things. Make you heavy. It turns the will into form. Solid. Love and joy makes you light. The excitement, heart's pumping. Boy, the earth looks small from here. You understand my meaning here? Extending. Work can be accomplished through the feeling of anger, hatred. If you wanted to dig a well and didn't have a tool, if your technique were sharp enough and you were enough and could extend your will into the rock and make the rock heavier, denser. But if you enjoy, you wanted the rock to lift, enjoy and love and vibrating faster, those little atoms and molecules get happy molecules stimulated. But you have to be able to extend that in your will. See, all these wonderful things await you if you play. If you say, what is this old fool saying? What is he really, really saying to me? These things are important, but not so important. They're important in that they break the crust that you put around your minds so that you expand the way you see the world. They're important in terms of work to be done. You must always keep in mind what you are doing, because when you enter into the world of others, they don't know, they're not going to understand what you're talking about. It's going to be very difficult in certain ways, because when you go to them and say, well, this is what I want to blah, 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 they're going to look at you like, what? Forget it. Leave it up. They haven't a clue. So, what I'm saying to you is, don't allow that to disappoint you. Don't change your focus and your attitude towards that which you are striving to achieve. Play, learn, grow. There are all kinds of advantages in this. Now, what we've done is we've covered your attitude, which affects your vibrational frequencies in terms of your body and frequencies, because you are more, you manifest plant, animal, man, and above in your body. The foods that you eat should represent each one of those levels, and you can say each system of your body. Okay? Bone is not the same vibratory frequency as flesh or as blood, okay? Flesh or your, what do you call that system with your heart? Circulatory, cardiovascular, circulatory. Yeah, cardiovascular system is just a slight vibration off than that which circulates. They are all a part of the same system. They are all a vibratory frequency of the same thing. The blood and the canals and the pump. So, begin to think about that. Begin to think about the sun, and what does that mean? Why did he tell me when I do the great circle and do the thing up the spine and why did he say visualize a light? Light. Light. Sun vibration. vibration unto vibration. Yeah? Okay. See, one of the things that I've said, and I've tried to give the proper message. I don't want to be misunderstood, not because it matters to me whether you understand me or misunderstand me, but because it matters in terms of what you have to do. Okay? I've said, come away from this book, that book, the other book. I've said, okay, in a sense, leave this guru, that guru, the other guru alone. I've said that in a sense, but see, I didn't want to come across as, this is where I want you to be. Saying that because to study what has been said is so fine, and you have to be right in it in order to get out of it what you need, because it is a system. Someone said that to me, someone out of one of our groups said, well, yes, I understand it. You've said the same thing to us year after year after year. And I said, no, but you don't understand. I have said the same thing. I've said generally because I want you to think about it. More specifically, loosely, I want you to think about it. More specifically, loosely, I want you to think about it. More specifically, loosely, I want you to think about it. So, it has not been the same thing. It is the same thing, but it has not been the same thing. It's dedication. It's commitment. Remember the breakfast story of the chicken and the pig?
Oh.
The chicken participates in breakfast. The pig is committed to breakfast when you're having ham and eggs, you know? Okay, there's a difference. So now, commitment. Do you want to be the chicken or the pig? Okay. Commitment. The pig has gone all the way. The chicken just says, well, okay, here, take this. All right, I'm over here. Well, the pig is committed totally. But see, I'm asking you not to be breakfast, but to be committed to your learning. Which means, I can't tell you the numbers of times. Well, this whole thing is a giant comedy as well. I can't tell you the numbers of times people say things that are total. I'll say, this is what we want to be about right here, right now. And it's about everything but that. And it's kind of funny. It's this. So what it tells us is we have to learn to focus. But you see, I don't want you to misunderstand that focus is a narrow point. It's not. It's an exclusionary point in that it encompasses, you have to focus on everything that it encompasses and leave out that which it does not encompass. It is like focus on doing. Let go of this. Focus on having the experience of the thing. People say, well, I think so and so and so and so. And I say, and then I say, stroke is the result of too much energy flowing into a system that is not designed to handle it. Well, I can't say not designed. It is by design designed to handle it, but as a result of too much crystallization, it cannot handle it. So in some form, it's going to come up there anyway, so you might as well be soft-headed, let it, then hard-headed and let it. That's what a stroke is. We say, well, he had a blood clot. Well, what is a clot? The crystallization of blood. See? You see what I'm saying? It just gets too thick and too hard to go through that little thing and cuts off the oxygen, and then you say, it's saying you didn't prepare. So you have to prepare for this stuff. And it requires focus. Total and absolute focus. Total commitment. No, there's no such thing as total commitment. There's commitment. Commitment is total. The black raven or the black crow or something. It has been said by many throughout the ages that man only comes to God when he's ready to die, when there's no place else for him to go, when they have given up, when there's no more companionship to be had, there's no more money to be made, there's no trip to be taken, there is no food that tastes good. Now it's ready to be committed. Until then, we are right about so many things in our minds. We're so right and so justified. Oh, I can see many of us now at the head of the crusades. I headed across North Africa. Yes. Be Christian or Muslim. I'm a Muslim. Of course he's a Muslim. Look at where you are. Will you convert? No. That I slay you to save you from yourself. So right. Yeah. So, as Mark and I were discussing this morning, in anger, you can be so angry you want to kill him. Funny thing is, when you kill him, you're still angry. You're angry because he died. And what you're trying to kill them to do is to rid yourself of this burden of anger, pain. But then that is outside of yourself. So what you must realize is that there is no answer. So you can kill him, you're still angry. So all you can do is surrender. There's nothing you can do. Wow. Wow. That was what I could do. Yes, that's all you can do. No thing that you can do about it. You learn how to use that constructively. It obeys your will. It obeys your will. But we don't give ourselves time enough to learn. I look at the cat and say, rise, cat. He doesn't rise. Well, I'm tired now. I tried. It didn't work. Well, You have much to overcome. Okay. See, these are the things. So I'm just saying this so that we begin to trim things down to their essence. And I'm going to always do that with you. Because essence, see, once you understand the bottom line, people will come to me and said, you came to me last night and you said something. What did you say? I said, well, it's not important. It's not important in this reality. It was important then. They said, you came to me. Yeah, well, so what's the big deal about that? I do that all the time. It's, what did I say? I was so astounded by your coming, I didn't hear. Well, the point is that you hear it there and bring it here. That's the point. So whatever is said here about it, the point of that is that trim it down. What's being said here? What is it? What? In those spaces, it is literal. It is a literal picture of whatever. The depth of that is recognizing the pure thought. And when you get beyond the frills, when you get beyond the who's, you will come to be inside the thought looking out, as opposed to being outside looking in. And when you're inside it looking out, whoa, it's a whole other thing. So I'm constantly saying, essence, trim it away, essence, right here, in that thing. Let this go, get in it. It's an experience. And getting in it means recognizing what you're seeing, recognizing the nature of what you're seeing. That is, recognize I am looking at it from the outside. Then the illusion will melt. Whatever that illusion is and whatever level that is at, until you come to the point where you're looking at it from the inside, which is a total understanding of everything. You then recognize God and who God is and what omnipresence means. Okay, enough for today. Thank you for your time.